To start making controllable changes in your life, reflect on what you would like your ideal day to look like. What would you do in the morning? How would your day flow? What activities would occupy your evening? See if you can make one small part of your ideal day a reality. But don't try to overhaul your entire routine at once.
Welcome to Philosopher Insights, the podcast that delivers wisdom in minutes a day that you can put into practice daily and strive to master over a lifetime.
The podcast committed to sharing ideas that encourage you to bridge the gap between who you are today and the person you aspire to be in the future.
Hi, my name is Herb Lamba, and welcome to my podcast, where I will share practical insights from the world's best authors.
Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is. The quest to become the best version of you starts right now.
Hi, and welcome to Philosopher Insights. My name is Herb Lamba. Today we're discussing This Book is Cheaper Than Therapy, a no-nonsense guide to improving your mental health. The author of this book, Liz Kelly. It's published in 2024. I want to share a number of my favorite insights, starting with self-care versus self-improvement, build a self-care practice, upstairs or downstairs brain, cold plunge or shower, step off the roller coaster, your F budget, meaning matters most, and finish it off with a closing thought. So let's start with the introduction. Quote, you finally decide to get therapy and improve your mental health. Right on. But then you discover how much it costs to talk with a therapist per hour. About the same as half a plane ticket to Chicago or a pair of really nice shoes from Nordstrom. You thought that maybe insurance would cover mental health treatment, only to find out that your plan doesn't offer that benefit. Or perhaps you made room in your budget for therapy, but everyone has a 3-month waiting list. I get it. Finding a good therapist is hard. This book is cheaper than therapy is my way of supporting the individuals I'm unable to take on as clients. While this book is not a substitute for treatment by a licensed mental health professional, it can equip you with the same strategies and tools I share with clients in my psychotherapy practice. Although I can't take away your problems or pain, I can offer suggestions to help you escape the rabbit hole of suffering more quickly. Since you are unique, your specific prescription for optimum mental health will also be unique. If you try a technique and it's not for you, that's okay. Feel free to disregard it and try something else. This is your life. Stay true to what works for you, not what works for your mother, your sister, your friend, your boss, that social media influencer you follow, or that celebrity you read about in People magazine, end quote. Now, I've been saying it for a while now. This whole mental health thing is one of the biggest challenges we're facing these days. And that's why I'm so excited to share this book with you. In episode 150, we explored why mental health in the workplace is such a big deal and needs to be addressed. And now, author Liz Kelly is here to hook us up with some legit therapist-approved techniques to help tackle those mental health hurdles head on. Liz has tapped into her expertise to bring us a toolbox full of proven strategies that we could all use to support our mental well-being. No more guessing or fumbling around in the dark. This is the real deal. So whether you're struggling with anxiety, depression, burnout, or anything in between, Liz has got your back. She's going to walk us through some super practical, easy-to-implement methods that can make a real difference in our daily lives. And the best part, these aren't just generic, one-size-fits-all solutions. They're tailored to address the unique challenges we face in the modern world. Insight number 1, self-care versus self-improvement. Quote, in contrast to the goal of self-improvement, which is to become a better version of yourself, the concept of self-care accepts and honors the person you are right now. Although self-care may lead to positive change over time, it's not the goal. You are worthy of attention and care right now, just as you are, end quote. You know, that's such an important distinction that a lot of people miss. It's easy to get caught up in this idea that we always have to be striving to be better versions of ourselves. But the truth is, self-care and self-improvement are really two different beasts. Self-care comes from this place of self-love and acceptance. It's about taking the time to nurture ourselves, to do the things that make us feel good and balanced, without any pressure or expectations. It's about giving ourselves that compassion and grace that we so often withhold. On the other hand, self-improvement is often rooted in dissatisfaction, that nagging feeling that we're not just good enough as we are, and we need to make changes to improve. Insight number 2, build a self-care practice. Quote, to start making the necessary changes to implement more self-care in your daily life, you have to start by identifying what changes are truly in your control. To start making controllable changes in your life, reflect on what you would like your ideal day to look like. What would you do in the morning? How would your day flow? What activities would occupy your evening? See if you can make one small part of your ideal day a reality. But don't try to overhaul your entire routine at once. Many clients also find it helpful to have check-in and check-out rituals before and after work, end quote. Now that is such a great point. The sooner we can really internalize that all change takes time, the better off we'll be. It's so easy to get caught up in this mindset of wanting instant gratification, but the reality is meaningful transformation just doesn't happen overnight. But you know what can make that journey a whole lot more pleasant? Finding those quick wins along the way, those little victories that help set us up for long-term success. All right, so let's dive into this check-in and check-out strategy that Kelly uses with her clients. It's all about creating a little ritual to bookend your day. The check-in might be something like reviewing your schedule or prioritizing your to-do list. And the check-out? Well, that could be just jotting down your wins or tidying up your desk for tomorrow. I can already hear you asking, but how is this going to help me with my anxiety and depression? Well, therein lies the power of routine. See, these little rituals help set boundaries and provide a sense of security. When we know what's coming next, it can be incredibly calming and grounding. It's like a mental reset button. Plus, taking a moment to reflect on your wins can be a real mood booster. Insight number 3, upstairs and downstairs brain. Quote, to better understand that noggin of yours, it's helpful to think of your brain in 2 parts, the upstairs and the downstairs. The downstairs brain is responsible for controlling essential bodily functions, regulating emotions, and keeping you safe. This part of the brain houses the amygdala, the fear and emotion center, the hippocampus, the learning and memory center, and the brainstem, which regulates breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. The upstairs brain is in charge of higher order processes like critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, and planning. This part of the brain contains the prefrontal cortex, the executive functioning center, end quote. Oh, we all know that feeling all too well. When you're driving and someone cuts you off and suddenly your downstairs brain just takes over. Before you know it, you're flipping them the bird, right? That's because your upstairs brain, the rational one, takes a back seat when the stress hits. It's like your downstairs brain just grabs the wheel and goes for it. Insight number 4, cold plunge or shower. Quote, it turns out that cold water stimulates the diving reflex, which is a quirky hack for feeling calmer. The diving reflex is a physiological response that occurs when you are submerged in cold water. Since the nerves in your face connect to the vagus nerve, the hack can get your nervous system back into rest and digest mode. The shock of the cold water can also bring you back to the present moment, end quote. Cold plunges and showers have been all the rage lately, and for good reason. Not only do they help reduce anxiety, but the cold exposure also works wonders for reducing inflammation and muscle soreness, boosts your immune system, and get this, it can even boost your dopamine levels, giving you that feel-good boost. I found that a quick cold shower is super effective for boosting my alertness, especially right before a focused work session, especially in the evenings after a long, draining day on the job. Here's the thing. Starting your day with a cold shower is also a powerful way to flex your willpower. Facing that icy water first thing takes serious mental and physical commitment, but it sets the tone for the rest of your day. Tackling something so challenging right off the bat proves you can handle tough tasks no matter how unpleasant. Insight number 5, step off the roller coaster. Quote, you do not have to be at the mercy of your emotions. They are not hardwired reactions in your brain over which you have no control. You have more power than you think. Feeling more in control of your emotions takes practice, but it is possible with a few simple steps, end quote. Now, the author recommends 5 simple steps to casually get you off the emotional roller coaster. The first one is breathe. You know, taking a few deep breaths is the first crucial step to calming your nervous system. When you're all riled up, your breathing gets erratic, but slowing it down hits the pause button on emotional reactivity, resetting your mind and body. The second is to observe. Noticing your thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations is key. Naming those experiences. I notice I'm having feelings of anxiety, and that's okay. Helps re-engage your rational upstairs brain and decreases emotional reactivity. Third is to remind. These feelings are temporary. Feeling that stress and discomfort right now? Remember, it won't last forever. Just ride out the wave until those emotions start to subside. You've got this. Fourth is to get curious. Okay, let's dig a little deeper here. What exactly triggered these emotions you're feeling? What was the specific event or situation that set them off? Identifying the root cause can be really helpful in working through it. And finally, number 5, take action. Let's put all those previous steps into action. That overwhelming workload is clearly adding to your stress. Based on what you're experiencing, the most logical next step could be to reprioritize your to-do list. Why not ask for help to lighten the load? Taking that pressure off could make a huge difference. I really love these 5 steps as well. They're just so practical and easy to remember. It's like having a handy toolkit you can pull out anytime you need it. Let's be honest, life can get pretty overwhelming sometimes, but with these steps, you've got a clear roadmap for how to calm your nervous system, get grounded, and approach challenges with a clear head. Insight number 6, your F budget. Quote, "You only have so many F's to give in life." Am I right? Having healthy boundaries allows you to spend your F's wisely. That's why it's essential to figure out your F budget. Your F's are what you care about. Having an F budget means that you spend your F's on the things that are meaningful to you. Once you have figured out your F budget, you can more easily say no to the things you don't care about and make space for the things that bring you meaning. End quote. It's all about being intentional. Instead of just haphazardly throwing F's around, you're carefully allocating them, and that frees you up to focus on the things that light you up, without getting bogged down by the endless demands and distractions of everyday life. I give an F about this podcast, reading and personal growth, but I don't give an F anymore about sitting through 3 hours watching a hockey game or watching movies on TV. Knowing this, I have rearranged my day to spend more time doing what matters to me. And you know what? I think the author is absolutely right. It's high time we all started creating our F budget, don't you think? Think about it. How often do we just mindlessly hand out those precious F's, only to end up feeling drained and unfulfilled? Insight number 7, meaning matters most. Quote, "We live in a society that focuses on feeling good. Our culture sends the message that if we aren't happy and feeling good, something is wrong with us. I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but no one feels happy all the time. Happiness is fleeting. It comes and it goes. It's for this reason that I encourage my clients to seek meaning rather than happiness. Without meaning, we feel empty inside. The great thing about making meaning is that you can participate in actions that create meaning independent from your current mood. When you invest in meaningful activities, it often lends itself to feeling good in the future, even if you have negative feelings at the moment." End quote. Now, there are definitely times when I just don't feel like engaging in those meaningful activities. Like the thought of cracking open a book or working on my podcast feels like such a chore at times. But you know what I found over the years? That negative feeling almost always goes away once I actually get started. It's like there's this mental block we have to overcome, but once we push past it, we realize how good it feels to be doing something that truly matters to us. And the other thing is, I have never once regretted actually following through on those meaningful pursuits. Not once. It's always such a rewarding experience, even if it's a struggle to get started some days. Because at the end of the day, we know deep down that these are the things that nourish our souls and make us feel alive. Insight number 8, closing thought. Quote, "Now that you have this newfound information on strategies to improve your mental health, you may be asking yourself, what do I do now? You might be feeling overwhelmed and wondering where to start. There is no right or wrong way to begin. Pick one small action that speaks to you and put your focus there. See if you can implement a new strategy for self-care this week, like not checking email or other messages until after you drink your coffee or eat your breakfast. One positive change will lead to another, and you will build momentum from there." End quote. I'll just say this, that if you read this book, you'll feel like you have a personal therapist speaking to you, but in this really accessible, down-to-earth way. I love that. It's like I was getting all the wisdom and expertise without any of the jargon or pretentiousness, you know what I mean. And there's just so much goodness packed in this book that it's hard to capture it all. But even if just a few of these ideas really resonated with you, or you think they could help someone you care about, then I'd absolutely encourage you to go out and read this book. As we wrap up another episode today, I just want to take a moment to give a big shout out to all of you incredible listeners around the world. Seriously, you have no idea how rewarding it is for me to know that even just one person is tuning in. and maybe taking something away that could help transform their life for the better. It's like this deep sense of fulfillment and gratitude that brings so much joy to my life. And it's all thanks to you, the dedicated, amazing listeners who take the time out of their day to be here with me. I mean, being totally honest, putting myself out there with a podcast can be a bit vulnerable at times, but knowing that there are people out there who may be connecting with the ideas, who may feel inspired and motivated to make positive change, that's what makes it all worth it. You are all the reason I keep coming back episode after episode. So thank you very much for stopping by, and remember to stay curious and keep embracing the wonders of knowledge. Talk to you soon. You've been listening to Philosopher Insights with your host, Herb Lambert. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.